Thanks for your visit. On this channel, we're going to learn to play guitar from zero, starting from scratch. That's my specialty because I've been a teacher for many years. And there are a couple of things that we have to talk before we start. Number one is don't worry about the guitar. Some people think that they need different lessons or different teacher for different kinds of guitar. But when we're starting from zero, when you're playing your first notes, your first chords, everything is the same. As you may have noticed, English is my second language, but I hope you stay with me and try to learn from my experience because I've been a guitar teacher for many years, and I'm pretty sure that you're going to learn guitar in the next few minutes. You're going to learn your first notes. One thing I have to apologize for is the dog barking, because we have many dogs around the neighborhood, especially the one next door. He likes to bark all the time, so maybe he's going to be making us company throughout this video series. Now, the first skills you need to learn when you're learning to play guitar is getting a clear sound and getting to learn your first notes. This is going to be our goal today. And I will always have, or most of the time, I'm going to have audio tracks to test your skills. If you gain your skills, you will know by doing the test at the end of each lesson. So stay and enjoy this lesson. So how do we get a clear sound? When you play piano, or if you try a note on the piano, you just press the key and you get a clear sound. But in guitar it's different. Many things have to happen to get a clear sound, and some people lose motivation over that. But don't give up on this just because you don't get a clear sound at the beginning. It's perfectly normal to have a bad sound at the beginning, but we're going to fix it. We're going to fix it right now from the beginning. Now we have the neck of the guitar, which is this part here. We have the frets. These metal bars are called frets, and we have the strings. So we're start learning to play on the first string because it's difficult to play on different strings. I know this because I've tested thousands of times in lessons. Strings, we start with the first string to make sure that you can play the notes clearly. Now what we do is you can use this finger. This is finger number 1 when you're playing guitar on your left hand. This is finger number 1, 2, 3, and 4. The thumb doesn't count because the thumb goes in the back of the neck like this. That's why this is finger number 1. Let's try playing with finger number 1 for now. Then we can play with other fingers. But when we play notes on the guitar, we try to stay as close as possible to the fret. Let's say we're going to play on the 3rd fret, the first string on the 3rd fret. So this is fret number 1, fret number 2, fret number 3. What we do is we use our finger to press the string against the neck. You have to press hard to get the sound. If you don't press hard enough, you will get a sound like this. That means your finger is here, but it's not doing its job. It has to press hard. Once you get some pressure on it, then you get a clear sound. Another very important thing is that you have to be as close as possible to the fret. Not on top, but as close as possible. For example, if I go in the wrong direction, let's say that I'm going to move towards the 2nd fret, we'll get a bad sound. It will be something like this. You see, as I get closer and closer to the 3rd fret, I get a better sound. So if I need to play on the 3rd fret, this is number 1, 2, and 3, I have to be as close as possible to get a clear sound. Let's say we're going to play the first string on the 2nd fret. That would be this. because this is the first string, the first fret, this is the second fret. Let's say we're going to play on the first fret, it would be like that. And when you don't press at all, this is what we call the open string. You just press, you just play the string with not using any finger. Now for the right hand, we have two possibilities. Number one is to use your index finger to play the string. Remember, we're practicing with the first string only for now. So you press the first string with your index finger like this. At the beginning, people start using their thumb. I know you're probably going to do that at the beginning, and maybe you don't even realize you're doing that. But as you practice, try to make sure that you're using your index finger for now instead of the thumb, because we're going to need the thumb to play the lower strings like the 5th string or the 6th string, and we're going to need that later on. If you get used to play the notes that we're learning now with the thumb, we're going to have trouble fixing that later on. So let's fix it from the beginning right now. Start using your index finger. Now, if you have a steel string guitar or an electric guitar, you can use your pick, the pick, or you can use your pick on acoustic, on nylon strings even. You can play whatever you want, but choose one of these two possible techniques. One is the index finger. You can use this one for support here and play the string with the index finger, or you can use a pick. Now, the way to use the pick is you place the pick here on top of the index finger and the thumb to hold the pick. You give a little bit of room, not too much, because if you give too much room, it will be unstable and may fall. But if you give a little bit of room here, you can hold the pick. Okay, that's the two possibilities to play. If you have an electric guitar, it's the same. This is the first fret, this is the second fret, this is the third fret, and so on. Play as close as possible to the fret, not on top, but as close as possible. And for the right hand, it would be most desirable to use the pick if you have an electric guitar. You can still use the index finger technique, but it's going to be a bit more difficult because there's less room. The strings are closer together here when you have an electric guitar. The distance between the strings is a little smaller, and you will have less room to maneuver. So that's why the pick is best if you're playing the electric guitar. Now that you know how to get a clear sound, now we're going to learn our first notes. We're going to play notes on the first string only. Trust me, this is necessary. If you're starting from zero, you will be confused trying to play on many strings. That's when people try to start learning guitar, seeing tutorials on how to play songs, they get all frustrated because they cannot make much progress, because you're trying to do something you don't have the skills for. We're going to learn the skills first. Once you get the skills, then we'll be able to play songs. Now, to get a clear sound, we already know how to do that. Let's start the first string on the 3rd fret. We're going to use that note. Remember to use your index finger to play the note. Let's play it twice, like this. Now let's go to the 5th fret and play twice. Now fret number 7 once, fret number 5 once, and fret number 3 once. This is it. We're going to do this. The first notes you're going to learn. Why so simple? Because it's important to make it simple. You will pass this in 5 minutes and you'll be ready to get the next skill. And I have audio tracks ready to practice this. to test if you can make it. And we are going to have 3 different speeds. If you complete the 3 different speeds, you're ready to go into lesson number 2. So the practice is going to be like this. I'm going to say the number of the frets. This is 3, 3, 5, 5, 7, 5, 3. This is going to be our practice. While you do that, we're going to play together, but I'm going to do something different. I'm going to play some chords in the background, and we're going to play together, and you have to keep up with me. Something like this. And we're also going to have the audio track that I told you about. And we're going to do it with different speeds. Now, remember not to use your thumb on the right hand, and it will go like this. If we play it slow, it will be like this. And we repeat. This is going to be our exercise. We get a clear sound. You're learning your first notes on the first string, and we're going to test that. If you can do that, we can move on into the next skill. On the top of your screen, you're going to see a flat line that represents the string. We are going to use a system called tablature to write the notes. And this line you see represents the first string, and the number represents the fret number. Every time you see a number, that represents the fret. That's why we have 3, 3, 5, 5, 7, 5, 3. And now we're going to do it along with the track, the audio track I told you about. Here goes our first practice using the drums. Why the drums? Because the drums are the ones who help us keep the tempo. The tempo is the speed. This is very important when you're learning music. Okay, there's a count of 4 before we start. 2, 3, 4. That's good. Now one more time, a little bit faster. I know might be boring, but wait until we do the third time with the audio track. Okay? So it's gonna be real quick. If you can play it, you're ready to play the next set of notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now for the next track, I'm going to play a background music. I'm going to play some chords, and you have to play those exact notes with me. If you can cut, it's going to be faster. If you can keep up with me, then you gain the skill that was our goal, to have a clear sound and to be able to play your very first notes. Now this time the audio track is going to be faster. It has a bass, another instrument, the drums and the bass, and I'm going to play some chords. I'm going to let you listen to the track, but your job is to play those notes that we practice and keep playing with me, playing along with me. This is just an example. I'm just going to show you. After the count of 4, it will be like this. Exactly like that it's going to be. Okay, are you ready? After the count of 4, you have to play the notes that you learned, and I'm going to play these chords, and the audio track is going to play the drums and the bass. After the count of 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.